Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Man Bites Film. This week we're going to be reviewing two films that are currently streaming on Netflix. The first one that I want to review is actually The Good Neighbor. This is a 2016 film starring James Caan, and if you guys all know him, he's a fantastic actor. If you have not seen any of this man's work, please check it out. In this film, he actually comes up as this basically grumpy old man, and he's the neighbor that lives next to these two teenagers that are basically trying to play a prank on the old man. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to do like a poltergeist, scare the crap out of the old man by installing cameras and installing basically magnetic strips and all these different things, gadgets around the house to make things happen, like if the house is being possessed by a ghost. But what these kids don't know is that there's a whole backstory to this old man that makes him think that it's his wife that's telling him something, to move on and to basically to join her. And the man starts losing his sanity very quickly. If you've ever seen Don't Breathe, this is very much along those lines, just a little bit different because it has these teenage pranksters involved in it. The whole film actually starts off in a trial-based setting type of thing, and these two children are on trial for what happened. It doesn't tell you what happened until the very end, and I'm not going to reveal that obviously, but the different events that happen in this film are very interesting, and the little pranks that these children play on him are very, very odd, and just it's really interesting to watch this develop and basically devolve this man into basic human instincts where he just loses his mind. And it's interesting seeing the backstory of the person that's being pranked, which is very, very cool, and it gave it a completely different aspect that most films don't have. It gave it like an extra texture to the film. So I thought that was very interesting. Again, the film is called The Good Neighbor, and I gave this a 10 out of 10. This is an excellent movie. It has the suspense, it has the thrill aspect of it, and it has very interesting characters. This film was so badly rated on Rotten Tomatoes that I had just completely skipped over it. But then the reviews for me had given it a very high review, so I was like, oh, let me check it out and see what it came up with. And let me tell you, Netflix doesn't fail ever with its rating systems. It is spot on. I loved this film. So please check it out. Again, it's called The Good Neighbor, starring James Caan. The next film that I want to review is In Your Eyes. This is a 2014 film directed by Bryn Hill and written by Joss Whedon. All of you know Joss Whedon, Firefly, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the first Avengers movie. The man is a genius, alright? The Cabin in the Woods, all these films that are fantastic were done by him. Or series. So this film doesn't fail. Alright, it hits the mark perfect. This is another great film that I saw on Netflix, and another thing that I gave very high ratings but horrible Rotten Tomatoes score and IMDb scores. So this film actually revolves around these two people that they get into an accident at the same time on different parts of the country, and it so happens that some way, in some mystical aspect of life, they get connected where they actually feel the emotions of the other person on the other side of the country. So these two people, they don't really know that they're feeling another person's emotions. They just think they're being bipolar, which is really interesting aspect, because sometimes when you feel like a certain emotion, you're like, what the hell am I feeling? Why am I feeling that? I don't get it. This is kind of interesting or whatever, but anyway, so this film, it kind of dissects that and brings that to life. But that's not the only layer of the film. The second layer of the film is that these two actually start seeing what the other person sees. And this is where they realize what's actually going on. And this is it makes for a very good story in this film because they're able to fall in love with each other by seeing themselves and what they think of themselves, which is very interesting. It kind of basically takes away that mysterious coat while dating, which is interesting to me. And the way that these two actors portray it, it's very well done. The characters are very well established, very thoroughly flushed out. I hope you guys could actually check this out on Netflix. So I hope you guys enjoyed the two reviews that I did about The Good Neighbor and In Your Eyes. These two films streaming on Netflix, you can watch very easily, and I definitely recommend both of these films. So I'll see you guys next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Man Bites Film. My name is Lewis.